Hey everybody, welcome to episode 28 of Answers to Questions, and this episode is all about habits. So it's the beginning of the summer, and we thought it was a good time to start talking about habits, how to start good habits, how to maybe get rid of bad habits, and really where do habits come from and why do they work. So all the questions and the comments and answers today are about habits, so let's dig right into it. So why are habits important? It's first important to understand how they work. So I really recommend a great book called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And in this book, Charles goes on to explain kind of the science behind habits, why they work, and explains the model of habits, which is a cue, a routine, and a reward. So think of a cue could be a smell. You smell the cookies and then you go and eat the cookies every single time. Or maybe a better habit is you get out of bed and your running shoes and your shorts and your shirt are sitting right there. That's your cue. So that triggers the routine, which is the actual act or the habit that you want to do, the action that you take, and then followed by a reward. What do you get at the end? Do you get the cookie or do you go for the run and get the endorphins and the runner's high? And so that habit routine, if you understand where that is, you can kind of you can see where it's breaking down and how to fix it, right? So you can see if you want to have a good habit, start with a good cue that's always in the right time, in the right place to trigger that routine. And if you're trying to get rid of a bad habit, maybe fix either reward or the routine or the cue. All right, so the first question about habits came in an email from Steve. He said, what is a habit that you are most proud of? And what's a habit you are least proud of? So thanks, Steve. I think the habit I'm most proud of is my 8 for the day habit. I did it today for the 1,278th time. And it's a way for me to plan my day and to think about what's most important that day. So I've been doing this for, I think 5 years or so now, 4 years maybe. And that's just a way for me to kind of ground my day, think about what's important, start, and hopefully with that as my cue, writing these things down as I go throughout the day, the routine is to actually get them done. A habit that I'm probably least proud of, and I don't even know exactly how to define this habit, but how often I check my email. Throughout the day of work, I always have my email open. It's a habit I need to break. It's a habit I need to be able to turn it off, shut down that browser, and not get stuck in email so much. So thanks, Steve, for at least calling that out. Now I'm aware. Hopefully I can improve it. All right, so the next question comes in from Michelle, and she asked, how do you know when it's time to shake up your routine or your habits? Great question, Michelle. I think at Lemonly, so we run our calendar in what we call 100-day goals, and that's enough time to really create a habit. I know scientists, some people say you can create a habit in 21 days, some people say 66. I think it really varies on who you are and your personality. But 100 days gives you a chance to really focus on some new habits, some new goals, and then shake them up if you need to. And so certainly I think if you have bad habits, shake them up as fast as you can. I think the key though here is to not be a person, because I sometimes even get this way, where you get so stuck on starting habits or starting new routines based on milestones, right? So New Year's Day, you have your resolutions and your goals, or the start of the summer, or the start of a new month, or when you turn 30. You can't just wait for a milestone to start a habit or to create a routine or to break a routine. Why not start today? Not tomorrow, not the next day, but today. So shake up your habits often. Get uncomfortable, because when you're uncomfortable, when you're trying something new and stretching yourself, that's when you really grow. So the last thing we wanted to talk about is how a company culture can actually enforce good or sometimes encourage bad habits. So if you are a manager, CEO, someone who leads a team, think about how the culture you create enables either good or bad habit making. So for instance, it's nice out here now in South Dakota and at Lemonly if you need to get up, walk around the block, stretch your legs, get away from the computer, rest your eyes. We have to have a culture that allows people just to get up and walk out. They don't need to ask for permission. They don't need to do it at a certain time of day. So culture really can shape habits. We talked about the 100-day goals, pushing yourself to get uncomfortable and try new things. But if you're in a position as an employee where you're in a culture that doesn't allow for good habits, is actually enabling bad habits. I think we mentioned the Wells Fargo example of creating fake accounts just so that they could hit their metrics. The pressure was so intense to hit those metrics that bad habits, negative culture started creating those. So think about the culture you're in, whether employee, manager, leader, boss, and how those can impact your habits. Because really, if you break it down, if there's goals you want to accomplish, if there's If there's milestones you want to reach as a team, maybe run a marathon, read a book every week, reach a milestone or revenue goal for your team. If you break those things down piece by piece, it usually starts and ends with habits. The reason it's so easy for so many of us to brush our teeth twice a day is we've been doing it for years. And that cue, routine, reward, you see the toothbrush, you get out of the shower, you brush your teeth, put the toothpaste on, and that becomes the habit. So if you start at that foundational layer of good habits, you'll hit your goals. All right, so that's episode 28 about habits. The question for this episode is, what is a habit that you are most proud of that you've started, or one that you're looking to try to break this year here still in 2017? Leave a comment and we'll try to keep you accountable. So we'll see you next time on episode 29. If you want to know how to get in touch or how to ask a question for a future episode, here's how to do it.